The 2014 Super Bowl signaled a massive shift for the entire NFL. Seattle's Legion of Boom, led by Chancellor and Richard Sherman, had just thoroughly dismantled the legendary Peyton Manning in the previous year's championship. And that defense was ascending to legendary status. Teams simply did not want to face them in their stadium. It was that intimidating. The only thing remaining to carve their names into the annals of history was to defeat another icon on their journey to a repeat championship. But this particular legend would not be overcome as easily, because he was on his own personal mission for redemption. Overcoming all expectations, Tom Brady and the Patriots had clawed their way back to the Super Bowl for the first time in 3 years, determined to win their first championship in a full decade. The 2007 Super Bowl loss was a chink in Superman's armor, but the 2011 defeat against that same opponent nearly broke him completely. And like I said, we just came up a little short. After securing 3 Super Bowl victories in 4 seasons during the early 2000s, the Patriots were experiencing a period of stagnation. They were knocked out in the divisional round in 2005 by the Broncos, then suffered a devastating loss in 2006 to their rivals, the Colts, after squandering a double-digit lead in the AFC Championship game. In 2007, the Patriots were about to unleash a force upon the league that absolutely no one anticipated. Bill Belichick recognized that fundamental changes were required. The offense desperately needed more weapons, and he promptly went out and acquired them. In March, New England traded a 2nd and a 7th round pick to Miami in exchange for slot receiver Wes Welker. A month later, they committed absolute larceny, sending only a 4th round pick to Oakland for Randy Moss, a future Hall of Famer who was also seeking a comeback after 2 lackluster years with the Raiders. In the draft, they picked safety Brandon Merriweather in the 1st round to reinforce the defense. These acquisitions immediately altered the team's trajectory. Tom Brady, who had always been a champion but not necessarily a statistical titan, was suddenly armed with the most powerful offensive weapons of his entire career. The Patriots completely transformed offensive strategy in the NFL, running shotgun formations on almost 50% of their snaps when the league-wide average was only 27%. They stretched defenses to the breaking point using empty sets and trips formations, which made it impossible for opponents to conceal their coverages. Moss was an unstoppable force, scoring 23 touchdowns, which set a new single-season record. Welker was automatic in the slot, racking up 112 catches, and Brady threw 50 touchdowns on his way to a league MVP award. The offense racked up 589 points, which was the highest total in NFL history at that point. They completely flattened the competition during the regular season, achieving a perfect 16-0 record. They overpowered Jacksonville in the divisional round, and then outlasted San Diego in the AFC Championship. The flawless season was just one victory from completion. However, in the Super Bowl, Steve Spagnuolo's defensive scheme absolutely suffocated them. The Giants' 4-man pass rush harassed Brady all game long. David Tyree made his legendary helmet catch. Eli Manning reached an entirely new level on the game-winning drive. And the final result was Giants 17, Patriots 14. The pursuit of perfection was over. That defeat shattered the Patriots for the entire offseason. We just have to regroup and come back and try to make it stronger next year. The Patriots had a productive but low-key 2008 offseason. Even after coming just 1 game short of perfection, the expectations surrounding the team remained enormous. The foundation of the team was unchanged. Brady, Moss, Welker, and a defense anchored by the massive Vince Wilfork and Richard Seymour. In the draft, they chose linebacker Gerard Mayo out of Tennessee with the 10th overall pick, bringing a youthful presence to the linebacking core. The changes were minimal because they didn't need a major overhaul. The 2008 season was supposed to be their chance at redemption, but the football gods had different ideas. In Week 1 against Kansas City, calamity struck. Tom Brady took a low hit from safety Bernard Pollard, tearing his ACL. The reigning MVP season was over after a single game. Matt Cassell came in and achieved what many thought was impossible. Moss still managed 11 touchdowns. Welker secured 111 receptions. The defense performed admirably. But despite all of that, they didn't make the playoffs. Both Miami and Baltimore ended the year at 11-5, winning the tiebreakers against New England with superior conference records. It felt like the entire season had been for nothing. For 2009, the entire strategy was about reconfiguring the team on the fly. With Brady's return on the horizon, Belichick initiated aggressive maneuvers to reshape the team's composition. In late February, they sent Matt Castle and linebacker Mike Vrabel to Kansas City for a second-round pick, the 34th overall selection, which they used to draft safety Patrick Chung. They also moved a first-round pick to Baltimore, later trading it to Green Bay for a package of picks, which included the 41st selection that became cornerback Darius Butler. They also drafted a little-known prospect named Julian Edelman in the 7th round out of Kent State. Then, on September 6th, Bill Belichick stunned the entire league by sending defensive cornerstone Richard Seymour to Oakland for a 2011 first-round pick. It was a shocking decision that heralded a new direction for the team. A healthy Brady returned to form, passing for 4,398 yards and 28 touchdowns. Welker grabbed 123 passes for 1,348 yards. Moss pitched in with 13 touchdowns. The Patriots finished 10-6, winning the AFC East along the way. But in the wildcard round, they encountered an immovable object. The Baltimore Ravens crushed them 33-14. Brady had a nightmarish game, throwing 3 interceptions. The Dynasty's championship window appeared to be closing fast. Yet, just as it seemed all was lost for the franchise, they staged a remarkable comeback. The Patriots were on the verge of a truly historic offseason. The Patriots front office was incredibly active, orchestrating an impressive 13 trades during the draft period. In the first round, they maneuvered down from pick 22 to 27, swapping with Dallas to select cornerback Devin McCourty out of Rutgers. But their most brilliant move occurred in the second round. They traded up to snag tight end Rob Gronkowski at pick 42. Later, they selected linebacker Brandon Spikes at 62. In the fourth round, they practically stole Aaron Hernandez with the 113th pick. They acquired 2 future All-Pro tight ends in a single draft. The season that followed was an exhibition of pure dominance. Brady played with incredible precision, putting up 36 touchdowns against only 4 interceptions, an astounding 9-to-1 ratio, which earned him a unanimous MVP award. That offense put up more points than any other team in the NFL. Wes Welker hauled in 86 catches, and it made no difference that Moss was sent to Minnesota partway through the season. Gronkowski and Hernandez stepped up as Brady's latest offensive weapons, and the Patriots absolutely bulldozed their way to a 14-2 record, the top in the entire league. But then the divisional round arrived, and the New York Jets came into Gillette Stadium, pulling off a 28-21 stunner. Mark Sanchez managed to defeat Brady in Foxborough, and the dynasty that appeared destined for another title fell short yet again. 3 years after their shot at perfection, they still hadn't managed to return to the big game, but that was about to change in 2011. In the first round of the draft, they picked up tackle Nate Solder from Colorado with the 17th pick. They then moved back from the 28th spot to 56, selecting Shane Vereen out of California. Following that, they traded up to select Stevan Ridley from LSU, but their most significant acquisitions happened in late July. They sent a 2013 fifth-round pick to Washington in exchange for defensive tackle Albert Haynesworth, and then dispatched a 2012 fifth-rounder and a 2013 sixth-rounder to Cincinnati for Chad Ochocinco. The season got off to a fantastic start, with the Patriots jumping out to a 10-3 record. Brady had a monster year, passing for 5,235 yards and 39 touchdowns, while orchestrating an offense that racked up 513 points, ranking 3rd in the league. Gronk had a breakout season with 17 touchdowns, while Welker snagged 122 passes and Hernandez chipped in with 7 more scores. They wrapped up the season at 13-3 and initially breezed through the playoffs. First, they crushed Denver 45-10, then just barely beat Baltimore 23-20 in the AFC Championship, mainly because Billy Cundiff couldn't make a field goal. That set up a Super Bowl rematch against the Giants, with redemption just 1 win away. But once more, they couldn't seal the deal. The final score was Giants 21, Patriots 17, leading to another crushing heartbreak. The 2012 offseason was focused on injecting new talent into the defense. Belichick used the 21st overall pick on Syracuse defensive end Chandler Jones, and then snagged Alabama linebacker Donta Hightower at pick 25. The season played out like a classic Patriots year. Brady passed for 4,827 yards and 34 touchdowns. Gronk scored 11 touchdowns in just 11 appearances, and Welker caught 118 passes for 1,354 yards. Ridley ran for 1,263 yards and 12 touchdowns as the offense once again topped the NFL in points scored. They finished the season at 12-4, handily defeated Houston again 41-28 in the divisional playoff, and went on to host Baltimore for the AFC Championship. This go-around, however, they were defeated 28-13 by the team that would go on to win the Super Bowl. During the 2013 offseason, Belichick focused on retooling the offense. The team acquired Danny Amendola and added several other experienced players. It turned out to be a challenging season, however. Brady managed 4,343 passing yards and 25 touchdowns. Julian Edelman broke out as the new threat in the slot, making 105 catches for just over 1,000 yards. Ridley ran for 773 yards and 7 scores. The team posted a 12-4 record and annihilated Indianapolis 43-22 in the divisional game before heading to Denver for the AFC Championship, where they were beaten 26-16 by Peyton Manning. Over the subsequent few months, the team made some adjustments, feeling they were still on the cusp of another Super Bowl appearance. During the draft, they chose Jimmy Garoppolo in the second round, but their most impactful acquisition was made in free agency. They brought in cornerback Darrelle Revis, which provided an immediate and massive upgrade to their secondary. The start of the 2014 season was unsteady. They were defeated in their first game 33-20 by Miami, and later got crushed by Kansas City 41-14 during Week 4. At one point, their record stood at 2-2, and it was beginning to look like just another typical Patriots season. But then, they completely turned things around. They were victorious in 10 of their following 12 games, ending the season at 12-4. Brady threw for 4,109 yards and 33 touchdowns, while Gronk put up 1,124 yards and 12 scores, and Edelman snagged 92 receptions. In the postseason, they narrowly escaped with a 35-31 victory over Baltimore, then completely dismantled Indianapolis 45-7 in the AFC Championship game, finally making it back to the summit of the sport. This time, their opponent was the reigning champion, the Seattle Seahawks. It was one final opportunity for glory. And speaking of greatness, the Seahawks had been constructing something truly formidable of their own over the last few years. On January 11th, Seattle named Pete Carroll the 8th head coach in the organization's history, signing him to a 5-year contract worth $32.5 million. The ex-USC coach injected a new sense of energy, positivity, and a clear plan to build the team through the draft, leading to an immediate change in the team's culture. The new general manager, John Schneider, got straight to work, executing an incredible 13 trades during that offseason. With their first-round picks, they chose tackle Russell Okung at number 6 and safety Earl Thomas at number 14, securing 2 cornerstones for the future. In the second round, they traded up to the 60th spot to pick wide receiver Golden Tate. The true masterpiece of their draft, however, came much later. In the 5th round, they selected a player who would come to define their entire defense. That player was safety Cam Chancellor, taken with the 133rd pick. The frantic pace of trades and moves didn't end there. They also acquired pass rusher Chris Clemens in a trade with Philadelphia. They sent a 4th-round pick to Tennessee for running back Leon Washington and maneuvered picks to get quarterback Charlie Whitehurst from San Diego. The season ended with a 7-9 record, which was remarkably enough to win the NFC West. Matt Hasselbeck passed for a little over 3,000 yards. Marshawn Lynch, who was brought in from Buffalo mid-season, provided a much-needed spark. Then in the wildcard round, the Beastquake happened. Lynch's 67-yard touchdown run against the defending champion Saints became an instant classic. Seattle pulled off a 41-36 victory. Although they were eliminated by Chicago in the divisional round, the groundwork for their future success had been firmly laid. The Legion of Boom was starting to take shape. The 2011 offseason was dedicated to building upon that initial success. Pete Carroll and John Schneider maintained their assertive strategy, executing numerous trades to amass as much draft capital as possible. They used their first-round pick, number 25 overall, to select tackle James Carpenter, but once again, the real draft genius was on display in the later rounds. They selected linebacker K.J. Wright with the 99th pick. Then, in the 5th round, they traded up again to choose cornerback Richard Sherman with the 154th selection. Sherman, a former wide receiver from Stanford, would transform into an elite shutdown corner. In the 6th round, they added yet another piece to their secondary, picking up cornerback Byron Maxwell at pick 173. Then, late in the 7th round with the 242nd pick, they grabbed linebacker Malcolm Smith, a player who would prove essential to their Super Bowl victory. That October, they also shipped Aaron Curry to Oakland in a trade for future draft assets. Additionally, they acquired free agent cornerback Brandon Browner, who would go on to become a Pro Bowler. The season that followed was a real struggle. Tarvaris Jackson started 14 contests at quarterback, managing just over 3,000 passing yards and 14 touchdowns. While Marshawn Lynch had a phenomenal year with 1,204 rushing yards and 12 scores, landing his first Pro Bowl spot, the receivers were a huge letdown, with Sidney Rice managing only 32 catches for 484 yards in just 9 appearances. The defense, on the other hand, was beginning its transformation into an elite unit, ranking 7th in the league for fewest points conceded. Earl Thomas was recognized with a Pro Bowl selection. Cam Chancellor emerged as a dominant figure, and Brandon Browner led the entire team with 6 interceptions. They concluded the year at 7-9, finishing 3rd in their division, the NFC West. Although there were no playoffs, the essential components of a great team were clearly falling into place. The 2012 offseason marked the turning point for the entire franchise. Pete Carroll and John Schneider committed completely, making a series of aggressive moves to finalize their ideal roster. In free agency, their big splash was signing quarterback Matt Flynn to a 3-year contract worth $26 million. The former Green Bay backup was expected to be their new franchise quarterback. They also added wide receiver Braylon Edwards and tight end Kellen Winslow to the roster. After that, attention shifted to the draft. They executed a trade, moving down from pick 12 to 15 in a swap with Philadelphia, which allowed them to select pass rusher Bruce Irvin. As part of that maneuver, they also acquired an additional 4th and 6th round pick. In the 2nd round, they made another trade down the board to select linebacker Bobby Wagner at the 47th spot. However, the one selection that altered their destiny came in the 3rd round with pick 75, quarterback Russell Wilson from the University of Wisconsin. The 5'11" dual-threat passer wasn't expected to be the starter, but he earned the position outright in training camp. The season that unfolded was nothing short of magical. Wilson threw for 3,118 yards and 26 touchdowns against only 10 interceptions, which earned him votes for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Lynch rumbled for 1,590 yards and 12 touchdowns, earning a first-team All-Pro selection. The defense was absolutely suffocating, ranking 1st in the league by allowing only 15.3 points per game. Richard Sherman earned first-team All-Pro honors with 8 interceptions, while Earl Thomas received both a Pro Bowl invitation and first-team All-Pro recognition. To top it off, Wagner recorded 140 tackles as a rookie. They finished the season 11-5, secured a wild-card victory over Washington, and then suffered a devastating 30-28 loss to Atlanta in the divisional round. They were just a single year away from their goal. In 2013, every piece finally fell into place. The offseason that year was all about securing the last few elements for a championship team. In March, they orchestrated a massive trade, sending their 1st, 7th, and a 2014 3rd-round pick to Minnesota in exchange for wide receiver Percy Harvin, an explosive playmaker designed to elevate their offense. The following April, they officially closed the book on the Matt Flynn era by trading him to Oakland for a 2014 5th-rounder and a conditional pick. When the season started, the team was absolutely dominant. Russell Wilson continued his impressive development, passing for 3,357 yards and 26 touchdowns with a mere 9 interceptions, securing his first invitation to the Pro Bowl. Marshawn Lynch ran for 1,257 yards and 12 touchdowns, earning another trip to the Pro Bowl. Golden Tate contributed 64 catches for 898 yards and 5 touchdowns. But the defense was truly legendary. They surrendered just 14.4 points per contest, the best in the entire NFL. Richard Sherman was once again named a first-team All-Pro. Earl Thomas also secured first-team All-Pro honors again and came in 3rd for the Defensive Player of the Year award. Cam Chancellor's 99 tackles earned him a spot in the Pro Bowl. They finished with a 13-3 record, crushed New Orleans 23-15 in the divisional playoff, and then triumphed over San Francisco 23-17 in the NFC Championship game after a memorable challenge from star receiver Michael Crabtree. Waiting for them in the Super Bowl was Peyton Manning, leading a record-setting Denver Broncos offense. The Seahawks, however, completely dismantled the Broncos with a 43-8 victory, and the game wasn't even competitive after halftime. To be honest, the very first snap from scrimmage foreshadowed the entire outcome of that game, which ended with Malcolm Smith, a former 7th-round pick, being crowned the Super Bowl MVP. But the Seahawks were far from satisfied. They were hungry to repeat as champions. Their defense was still a historic force, and they were eager to show they were more than just a one-year wonder. Just 5 games into the season, they traded Percy Harvin to the Jets in October in exchange for a 2015 6th-round pick. In the draft, they picked wide receiver Paul Richardson at number 45 and followed up by selecting tackle Justin Britt a few picks later at 64. The season itself was a resounding success, with Wilson passing for 3,475 yards and 20 touchdowns. Lynch racked up 1,306 yards and 13 touchdowns on the ground, which earned him another Pro Bowl selection. The defense continued its elite play, once again leading the league in points allowed with an average of 15.9 per game. After a 12-4 season, they defeated Carolina 31-17 in the divisional round and then orchestrated an improbable comeback against Green Bay in the NFC Championship game. Trailing 19-7 with fewer than 3 minutes remaining, the Seahawks mounted a furious rally that included a go-ahead touchdown with just over a minute left on the clock. After recovering an incredible onside kick, they ultimately secured a 28-22 overtime victory on a perfectly thrown deep pass from Russell Wilson. And just like that, the final showdown was set. The Legion of Boom versus Tom Brady and the Patriots. A second straight championship was now just one win away. Or perhaps it was time for the Patriots to conquer their past struggles and claim a championship for the first time since The Incredibles hit theaters back in 2004. Brady would need to play at a superhuman level to overcome this legendary defense. The opening of the game, however, was anything but spectacular. February 1st, 2015, inside the University of Phoenix Stadium in Glendale, Arizona, the matchup pitted the reigning champions Seattle Seahawks against the New England Patriots. It was a battle between the formidable Legion of Boom and Tom Brady's determined search for redemption. The contest began slowly with a scoreless first quarter. In the second quarter, Brady connected with Brandon LaFell for an 11-yard touchdown with a little less than 10 minutes to play. This put the Patriots up 7-0, but Seattle responded. Marshawn Lynch powered into the end zone from 3 yards out with 2 minutes and 16 seconds left, tying the game at 7. Brady answered right back, finding Rob Gronkowski for a 22-yard touchdown with less than a minute remaining in the half. Yet, Russell Wilson had one more play left. With only a handful of seconds before halftime, he connected with Chris Matthews, an undrafted receiver who had never recorded an NFL catch before, for an 11-yard score. The game was tied at 14 apiece heading into halftime. The third quarter, however, was owned by Seattle. Stephen Hauschka confidently made a 27-yard field goal. Then, with 4 minutes and 54 seconds left, Wilson found Doug Baldwin for a 3-yard touchdown reception. With a commanding 24-14 advantage, Seattle seemed to have the game locked up deep into the final frame. But with the Patriots backed into a corner, Tom Brady did what he always does. He orchestrated a legendary comeback. His first strike was a 4-yard touchdown pass to Danny Amendola with 7 minutes and 55 seconds remaining, slashing the deficit to only 3 and making the score 24-21. Then, just before the 2-minute warning, the unthinkable happened. Brady found Julian Edelman for a 3-yard score, and just like that, the Patriots had seized the lead, 28-24. Seattle, however, refused to go down quietly. Russell Wilson marched his team down the field, connecting with Jermaine Kearse on an absolutely unbelievable circus catch that landed them at the 5-yard line with 1 minute and 6 seconds left. On first and goal, Marshawn Lynch powered his way to the 1, setting up a second and goal situation. With only 26 seconds on the clock and beast mode waiting in the backfield, the entire world expected one thing: a handoff to Lynch for the win. But that's not what Seattle's coaching staff decided. Instead, Wilson took the snap, fired a quick slant intended for Ricardo Lockett, and rookie Malcolm Butler jumped the route for a shocking interception. The Patriots had snatched victory from the jaws of defeat. The final score was 28-24, securing a 4th ring for Tom Brady and a 4th title for Bill Belichick. Poised to win back-to-back championships, the Seattle Seahawks' budding dynasty crumbled in the most catastrophic fashion possible, all from a single yard line. Pete Carroll's infamous play call would become a permanent scar on the city of Seattle. After a long drought, Tom Brady was back on top of the football world. At the time, no one could have predicted that this was merely the start of the incredible second act of his dynasty. And that is the story of the championship that reignited one of the greatest dynasties in sports history.